Hi, my name is Sira Boats. I'm an occupational therapist and a daughter of dementia, and I'm also a dementia consultant. And here at Boats Memory Method, we are providing you hope on the dementia journey. Today, we are introducing to you the new CMS Medicare dementia program called GUIDE, Guiding an Improved Dementia Experience, and it's a healthcare model. And I'm so excited. I have Mobile Medical, our exclusive guide partner in Florida, here with me in the studio. And without any further ado, I'm gonna have Dawn and Donna introduce themselves to you.
Hi, my name is Donna Cothran, and I am a nurse practitioner and one of the vice presidents of operations for Mobile Medical. I've been with Mobile Medical since it started in 2015. We started as a primary care practice and provide care to patients where they live, be it in their home or assisted living. And currently, we provide care to just under 7,600 patients in about 35 counties throughout Florida.
And I am Dawn Dust. I am also a nurse practitioner and have been with Mobile Medical since the beginning. I've watched the care that we provide to our patients in their homes evolve over time, and I'm super excited about the services that we will be able to offer them through the GUIDE program.
Especially since you guys focus on geriatric care here in Florida, it makes you a perfect fit for what this model is going to expect from us. So if we talk about dementia and just a little bit of a higher level introduction to why the GUIDE program is so important, is that it is for our dementia population. And when we talk about dementia, we're talking about an umbrella term that is really incorporating a lot of different cognitive disabilities, if you would, and it just connects the dots for all disease processes, all neurodegenerative diseases that causes cognitive issues. It can be challenging behaviors, difficulty in thinking and memory and judgment, decision making, and of course there are several that's well known to all of us: Alzheimer's dementias, vascular dementia, frontal temporal dementia, Parkinson's related dementia, Lewy bodies dementia, just to think of a few. But things like strokes, TIAs, head injuries, those type of situations can also lead to a form of dementia. So when we're talking about the GUIDE program, we're talking about the struggles that healthcare providers are having to deliver appropriate services to our dementia population. And the fact is, like you guys touched on, you are serving the geriatric population. Your 75% of your average population that you serve are 85 years old or older. And what we know, looking at statistics, are that 1 out of 3 of those patients will die from Alzheimer's dementia related complication. And we also know that it's the third leading cause of death, and will be by 2040. Right now it's the 7th leading cause of death, but it's going into the future predictions is going to be the 3rd leading cause of death. And as healthcare providers, we know the complicated factors are the fact that 85% of our patients living with dementia have 5 or more comorbidities. Even for somebody without a cognitive deficit, that's hard to manage that many diagnoses and to deal with all of it. So now we throw in a cognitive deficit and it complicates this disease, this pathology for everyone. So Dawn, right now, I almost called you Donna. Dawn, I'll keep Donna and Dawn straight here. Dawn, can you take us right now in the absence of this GUIDE model, what does it look like for someone living with dementia?
So let's take a common scenario. If you have a family member who has dementia, you may be able to identify with the scenario that we're presenting here today. Margaret is an elderly patient, and she has been recently diagnosed with dementia. She has a family member who is Kathy. She's her caregiver. When Margaret gets the diagnosis of dementia, she and Kathy go on the internet and they search for some resources, maybe some education to help them know what to expect with this diagnosis of dementia. They find some information, but really don't tap into the resources that could be available for them as they start down this road. Many people with dementia and their caregivers acknowledge what a struggle it is. When you have a patient or a family member, a loved one with dementia, because the path is so different for everyone. And so as they travel down the path, soon Margaret starts having difficulty with her medications, with taking her medications. She starts taking the wrong doses. So Kathy steps in as her caregiver, and she assumes the responsibility for setting up Margaret's medications and making sure she takes them in a timely fashion. Of course, this is in addition to all Kathy's personal responsibilities. Now she's having to take on additional ones to care for Margaret. Soon, as Margaret's disease process progresses, maybe she starts wandering at night and she gets lost. Maybe she's found and took to the hospital. Now, Kathy's burden, her caregiver burden, increases tremendously because now she has to be concerned with what happens if Margaret gets out of the home at night? What happens if she gets hurt? And so Margaret and Kathy both become stressed. Margaret, because she recognizes that something's wrong and that something is that she recognizes something is wrong, and doesn't know how to change it, doesn't know how to respond to that situation. No. And Kathy, again, she becomes overwhelmed, starts to feel burnt out because she recognizes more and more that the care that Margaret needs is difficult for her to provide in the home for her. Even to the point that Kathy, in caring for herself, may need to attend a doctor's appointment. She may have to have a neighbor come over to sit with Margaret, and the neighbor cancels at the last minute. Now Kathy has to cancel her appointment. All contributing to her stress, all contributing to her feeling of being overwhelmed. And they have no support. They feel like they have no support in the community and that nobody understands their journey. And I think that's what CMS and Medicare also recognize, that many of these patients and these caregivers just don't know the resources that are available and don't have the education to travel the journey.
And that is, you're really summarizing that journey, the common struggle so well. And that's what makes this model so exciting, is providing a roadmap for all of us on how to provide better care and putting some pointers on that roadmap to allow us as medical providers to provide that care in a timely manner. And so I would love for you to introduce us to this guide model.
So the guide really is, in my opinion, is more geared towards the caregiver. You know, it's making sure that we are providing better resources. I say a lot of times to our providers, when you're caring for someone with dementia, it's not just the patient. You're taking care of that family member, and we need to do a better job of empowering them, of providing them with the resources so they can care for their loved one. And that is what this whole program is about. It is about connecting the dots and making sure that people have a better handle on the resources, better education, and just being able to better be equipped to care for someone that's suffering from the disease.
Yeah, and this is where we really also are looking forward to partner with you guys. Can you speak a little bit to us, specifically to the patients then? What is Mobile Medical going to be providing that's different for our persons living with dementia?
So the guide program really does provide us with additional resources and support, gives us access to resources and support for our patients and the caregivers. So when you partner with Mobile Medical, we'll come and do an assessment on that patient. The very first thing they're going to get is a comprehensive assessment. This is going to tell us where the patient is in their dementia journey. It's going to tell us if they're mild, if they have moderate or severe dementia, and some of the things that can be expected with that staging of them. It will also help us identify caregiver needs. So where does the caregiver need support? Where do they need education? It helps us identify all of those in a single assessment. Then it allows us to plan for them, develop a plan of care that's individualized to their needs. It will also give our patients access to a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week interdisciplinary team that will help connect the dots, as Donna had mentioned, to those education and resources. It'll be like a one-stop shop for them to call to get access and coordination of care for those resources. We'll also provide medication reconciliation, and we will go through their medications and help identify medications that could be exacerbating the symptoms of dementia that they are having. It also will provide caregiver education and respite services for our patients.
And it's so exciting for me. Something that I want to highlight is that this is an additional provider services that they're getting. So Mobile Medical becomes the guide physician, quote unquote. You do not have to give up any of your other physicians. This is an additional layer of dementia support, and it's in the home. Whereas now they may be going to a brick and mortar clinic where that physician only have 10 or 15 minutes and really is not understanding the functional challenges that that person and their caregiver may be having. Whereas when you're being seen in the comfort of your home by a caregiver that is specific to your dementia needs, now we can, as healthcare providers, can capture where you're at, what your needs are, and connect you with the right resources. So let's talk a little bit then about the caregivers and how this will impact their lives.
So one of the biggest things that we're going to be able to offer is caregiver support education. Support groups. We'll be partnering with Boat's Memory Method for that. And so that's going to be one of the biggest things that we're going to be able to offer them. And then as Dawn mentioned, they'll have a coordinator, a care coordinator that will be assigned to them that they'll have access to 24/7. So when they need a little extra support, they need guidance, maybe some tips on how to handle their loved one, they'll be able to have someone to call. And so they will also be able to help to coordinate those respite services Dawn mentioned. And respite services could be provided in the home. So like the example that Dawn gave of the caregiver needed to go to an appointment, so someone could come in the home and provide that. It might be an adult daycare program, or it could be overnight services, but we will be able to help coordinate those respite services. And then I think one of the biggest things is just being that emotional and practical support. We'll be able to have our providers being there from a medical perspective, offering guidance, but then also providing some of that emotional support. We have licensed clinical social workers and things like that will be available to be able to help guide through this.
I love that, and also the fact that we can now have that planned access to respite care that CMS is recognizing as necessary to maintain quality of life. I think this whole guide model focuses on quality of life, not only of our patient living with dementia, but also the caregiver, because we recognize that the caregiver is the one carrying the burden. The caregiver is the one who is going to be able to implement strategies. The caregiver is the one who we need to empower to make sure that our person living with dementia has quality of life. So it really has to start with the caregiver, and with this model, we're really focusing on empowering the caregiver. It's so exciting. So can we talk then about how are we going to do that? Because we're going to need some partners in our communities.
Yes, that is one of the key features of the guide program, is that we establish partnerships with resources around the state of Florida. So this may be relationships with like Meals on Wheels or with Elder Source, some transportation companies, adult daycare centers, partnerships with community PCPs, also with assisted living communities, so that we have those partnerships already set up so that when the need arises, we're able to access those resources very quickly and seamlessly. Also, we have really great partnerships for our caregivers, like the Boat's Memory Method, being able to give them access to that education and that training and that wonderful new app can be very helpful and a real-time resource for them. We can also help coordinate clinical services, help coordinate appointments and getting to and from appointments. These are all things that having a patient or a family member inside the guide program, we can help collaborate care, we can help coordinate services throughout the state as well as in the communities.
Yeah, I love that. And every community has a different culture. And our success are going to depend on relationships. And we have great relationships in our communities, and we can leverage those relationships so that our patients doesn't have to do that lifting themselves. They can rely on us to help connect the dots with that community partners for whatever resources they may need. So that's very exciting to me too. It's not a one size fit all. It depends on the community you live in and the resources you have available within your community, and that's where we're going to anchor you. So let's see then, once we've implemented this, what does the life look like now for a person living with dementia?
So now Margaret's journey looks a little different. Margaret still has dementia, and she still has to travel her own path, and she still has her own difficulties that she'll struggle with every day, and they'll be new every day. But now they have resources. Now they have education that they know what to expect. So now when Margaret receives her diagnosis of dementia, now she is referred over to the guide program. And we're going to come in and do that comprehensive assessment. We're going to stage her. Where is she at in this journey? What can we expect here? And what can we expect in the future? And then we provide that information to Kathy as well as Margaret, and we develop an individualized plan of care for them. What are the resources that you need now? What are the resources that you may need in the future? And preparing them. I think that sometimes is half of the struggle with being a caregiver with someone in dementia, is not knowing what to expect, not knowing what is the next step, what decision needs to be made now. And so we're able, with our individualized plan of care, to develop that and tell you, hey, we're right here now, and this is where we're going, and this is what we need to do along the way. So now when Margaret wanders at night, now we have resources. Now Kathy can call. Let's get some additional training. This is where we're at now. I need more education. And she has resources such she can access her app, her Boats Memory app. She can access to her 24/7 caregiver. And she can say, this is where we're at. We need additional training. We need additional resource and support. And now, instead of Kathy carrying that burden alone, she's able to share that burden with the other people that are part of the care team. And so now as Margaret's dementia continues to progress, and Kathy needs to go out and take care of herself. She may need to go to the doctor's appointment or just go to the grocery store, or maybe she needs to take a day or two off. Now we can put her in contact with our care coordinators who will allow her to access those respite funds. And so she can have an adult daycare center. She can have personal in-home caregiving. She can have an overnight stay in a facility. And now all of a sudden, Kathy is able to enjoy Margaret as she progresses down her journey, and she's able to help share that burden throughout the entire team.
It is so exciting, so much hope in this whole message. Can we talk a little bit about the respite funds that's available annually, I believe, right?
Yes, it's I believe $2,400 a year, and again, it can be used for in-home adult daycare or in an overnight facility.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And then we will help to navigate that for that person again.
Correct.
It's not the emergency thing that happens and somebody has to be placed or go to the hospital because we didn't plan for events, but we can be proactive in providing this respite so that we can age in place and improve quality of life for both parties or all parties involved. Very exciting. So now the next question, and I get this all the time already, is for our patients and families. What does this look like for us? How do we qualify?
So first and foremost, must have a diagnosis of dementia, and then be enrolled in Medicare Part A and B. So that means no Medicare Advantage plan, no PACE participation, not in hospice, things like that. It has to be traditional Medicare Part A, Part B. And then also the patient needs to be at home. So that could be in a private residence or assisted living. Patients who reside in a long-term care facility would not be eligible.
I got you. But if I have a replacement plan, but I am eligible for regular Medicare. I could potentially, during the open enrollment during November of each year, consider to switch my plan over to the traditional Medicare benefits.
Correct.
So there's always that option. So if you are interested in Guide and receiving Guide benefits, then during that open enrollment during November, you need to consider switching back to traditional Medicare. So let's talk about what does that look like now. I am eligible. I know we have a dementia diagnosis. What are next steps?
The next step is give us a call. We have a toll-free number that you can reach our office. We can give you some additional information as well as get you enrolled for services. But if you'd like to find out some more information, you can also visit us at mobilemedicalnow.com. Go to the menu and select Guide Services. The website will also provide you more information about Mobile Medical and about all the awesome services we offer to our patients around the state.
Yes, and Mobile Medical does touch the whole footprint of Florida, which is very exciting. And this is such an exciting topic. We'll definitely come back and explore more about the Guide. This rollout for Mobile Medical actually takes in effect July 1st, 2025. And we are very excited to start serving our patients across the state of Florida. Boats Memory Method as exclusive partner of Mobile Medical. And we hope that you will sign up for our YouTube channel so that you can see all the videos coming about Guide and other exciting topics, as well as sign up for our newsletter from our website, boatsmemorymethod.com, and we will see you soon.